Hi, so in this video, we're just going to take a look at how you might go about deciding how much money is worth your while spending on Google Ads or any type of advertising. So the first thing you have to work out is trying to work out how much is a new customer worth to me. Okay, so if I get a new customer, and I mean an active customer, I don't mean a potential customer, I mean somebody who actually buys from you, how much is that worth to you in terms of profitability? And there's a few things that you need to consider. First of all, how much is the profit per sale or per month or whatever way it is you're actually selling? Um, so what's the profitability of that for you? And then also, how many, on average, how many of your customers will return to you and purchase again? Be that on a monthly or yearly basis. So I've just created a very simple sort of Excel spreadsheet that we can use. So the first thing we need to look at is what way makes more sense in terms of looking at your customers. So I've got a few drop downs here. So you might look at them yearly. So how much is it worth to you on a yearly basis? And you're thinking, oh, well, I can't calculate yearly. So you could go monthly if that makes more sense. And I put in another option in here. So per purchase event. So maybe they come back to you a certain number of times. So they buy off you 3 times or 5 times. Okay. So purchase event, if that makes sense to you that way. Sorry, I'll just stretch that out a bit. So the first thing, so we could say, for example, I'm going to go with monthly in this case. So, so how much per month is a new customer worth to me? On average, how much profit, not how much was the sale, how much is the profit on the sale? When you take away all your costs, how much is the profit on for a customer per month? Okay, so in here, you have to work out how much that is worth to you. So for example, in here, I put in 25, but you could say, oh, no, do you know what? That's just mad. Actually, ours is 40. Okay, so 40 euros is how much per month a customer is worth to us. So the next thing then is, after somebody has purchased you with you 1 month, how many of them will be purchasing again the next month? So you might say 75%, or actually, we're much better than that. Actually, we've improved that, and it's now 80% of them come back on the second month. And automatically, it means that you're then, I've calculated here, you don't have to do anything. The only months or the only fields you have to fill in are the sort of yellowy gold ones. The rest of them will automatically calculate for you. So the customer churn rate, how many you lose, is 20%. And you'll see the 80 and the 20 add together to make 100. So that's just a simple formula that takes one from the other. So the average then, and this is calculated for you, the average length of the life of a customer for you in months is 5. So the average customer stays with you 5 months. Now, obviously, some might stay with you forever, and others you might only get 1 month out of. But the average, if 80% of your customers come back, then the average length of time is 5 months. And that's calculated out for you. Considering that they stay 5 months, and it's 40 per month, so 5 multiplied by 40 gives you 200. So the customer lifetime value to you, the value to you of getting a new active customer, is 200 in terms of profit. Okay, and remember, the big mistake I see people making is they say, oh, the sale value was 40. No, we're not talking about the sale value. We're saying, how much are you making? Okay, how much profit are you making per either per month or per sale event or per year? Okay, and we're going to calculate it out that way. So then taking that down to the ad budget. So you might go off and work out what is the average cost per click. Now, I'll just quickly just open here. I've got the Google keyword planner in here. So I'm in Google keyword planner. And I've just uploaded a few sort of keywords relating to whiskey. So I've put in Irish malt, Irish whiskey, whiskey tasting, and whiskey tour are different options in here. So here you've got two sort of types of costs, average cost per click. And so here we've got 40 cents or 136. So 40 is the lowest estimate and 136 is the highest. So again, we're just sort of looking at here and thinking, oh, actually whiskey tasting. Oh, that's actually, anybody who searches for whiskey tasting is likely to actually want to come and use our service. So actually, being pessimistic, we might say 356. If we were going with that, 356 is what we would say our cost per click is going to be. So we'll go back then. We'll go back to our Excel. And in here, instead of putting in €4, we'll put in 356. Okay. And so it's kind of a few ways of doing this. If, for example, you had a monthly budget of 500, then this is showing you how many website visits you would get. And you can change these numbers, obviously. So if your average cost per click was 4, I should increase the decimal points in there. You can't really see it. 356. So then with 500 of a budget, that would mean that you would have 141 visits to your website. Okay. So 141 visits to your website. Now, people who arrive on your website don't necessarily do anything. They don't all actually go and buy or do anything active. Okay. So for example, they don't necessarily add something to a cart. And I've kind of taken this in 2 stages. One is that they add it to the cart, or they phone you and sort of you're creating a lead that way. So I've kind of taken it in 2 steps. So of those, and using your Google Analytics, you might be able to see this. You should be able to see this. What is the conversion rate? How many of them that land on a particular page will actually end up adding something to a cart, or sort of making that phone call, or doing whatever? So I'm saying here, for example, that you might look at your Google Analytics and say, for example, you had 10%. So of the 140, that means that 14 of them would be adding something to the cart. Okay, so of the 140 people who landed on your website, 14 of them might actually add something to the cart. Then looking at your shopping cart, or it might be looking at how good you are at converting people who phone you, how many of those convert over into active customers. Okay, so because there's a few stages of this. It's hard to get people to add things to a cart, and then once they have it in the cart, how many of them actually complete the process, or how many of them who phone you do you actually convert into an active sale. So I'm saying, and this is an optimistic, 50% of them, certainly in terms of phone calls, 50% would be on the low side. Only converting 50% of the people who phone you would be quite a low conversion rate. So within your shopping cart, on an online environment, again, looking at your Google Analytics, what is your conversion rate? And you put in your conversion rate here. So with 50%, that means 50% of the 14 customers here, that means that 7 customers will actually make purchases. Okay, so the cost then of a new customer to you, if you have a monthly budget of 500, the cost for a new customer, and remember, out of the 140 people who arrived on your website, we're saying that only 7 of them will actually purchase. Okay, so with 7 of them purchasing, that means the €500 divided by 7 gives you €71. It's costing you €71 per customer. Now, if these are brand new customers who have never sort of seen you before, and that's an assumption we're making, okay, so it could be already, there might be already existing customers, okay, and that means maybe your ad targeting isn't great. So if they're new customers, then the customer lifetime value is 200, and the cost of acquiring a new customer is 71. Okay, and so again, how good are your estimates? How confident are you that the profitability is accurate? How comfortable are you that your retention rate is 80%? Okay, how comfortable are you with the 10% website getting it to the cart or the phone call stage? How comfortable are you with your 50%? So I certainly wouldn't be going up to 200 in terms of the cost per new customer, because we have a lot of variables in there, and I would always be cautious. Now, the reality is, when we saw in Google Ads, this was the high end. You might only end up spending 43 cents, okay? And you could actually decide, you know what, 356 is the average high top of page range, but actually maybe I'm a bit nervous with that. I think I'm going to go 250 and see how many I can get at 250. So just to follow on from that, and I suppose just kind of look at this problem from another perspective. So this is the similar sheet to the previous one, and the numbers are similar as well. But this time round, I sort of thought, let's take a look at taking it from your goal perspective. So going from your goal. So it might be that you wanted to create, for example, 7.02 customers. So with that, how much do I need to spend? So I've just put this to show you that it works the same way. So if, for example, I said, actually, what I need is 14 new customers. So this time, the monthly budget will be calculated for you. So if I put in, for example, here, I need 14 new customers, it is going to tell you that this would need to be your monthly budget. And I've also just used the current March 2023, the way it's calculated in Google, which is divide by 30.04. So that's saying that you would need a 32, nearly 33 euro daily budget. Okay, so it's exactly the same as the last one, and again using your customer lifetime value, but I suppose taking it from a different perspective and taking it from your goal. What is your goal at the end of the day? And in this one here, you can say, well, listen, if, for example, I actually want 20 new customers, but do you know what? I can't afford that monthly budget. So actually, I'm going to reduce my bid. Now, maybe I won't get as many clicks. So actually, I'm going to actually start bidding 250. And so with a 250 maximum bid, that would then come in at 1,000. Or actually, I got to, that's still way too high. I'm going to go with 75 cents and see what comes in at that. And that's 300 euros. And so it's just another way of looking at it. So again, this will be available to you in class, but I just think it's a good way to start analysing what you're aiming to do.